Well, welcome back. We are now in the fourth part of the menu/function tutorial. So in this one, we're going to create the last menu selection, which is the area of a triangle. And then we are going to put this in a loop so that we know how to exit the program at that point in time. So you'll see that. So we are up top here. And to do that, we're just going to put it in a switch statement, pretty much the same as in here. So this way we can continue to process until we decide to exit. Right now, we can only process one thing at a time, or if we choose X, then it will exit it right now. So let's go and look at what our next selection is, which is area of a triangle. So we need to create a new function. And the area of a triangle, we can make it a double or we can make it an integer. I'm going to make it a integers just so we can keep it simple. So let's go integer and calc area of a triangle. Now remember that if we decided to make the base and the height of the triangle a double, then we would make sure to change this to a double. So that's an easy way to do that. And what we just may do is write another function that does the same exact thing in here. So we will, at this point in time, just create it as a triangle for an integer returning value, and which basically the code will be exactly the same. The only difference is one we would be getting a double base and a height, and one would be getting an integer. So let's close this. I don't like working in this yellow. And in this particular case, we are going to need a base and a height. Remember, the area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. So now I did integer on purpose. The reason why I did integer on purpose is because we are going to be multiplying something by a 1/2. So now there's no guaranteeing that we're going to get an integer. So here we have to now change it to double and return a double. So this is one of the reasons why I strongly emphasize planning these things out and doing them one thing at a time. So let's create a double here. And of course, we're going to have an issue because there is no definition, which we're going to change right over here. And we have double. So this should take care of that red squiggly line. And in this particular case, we are going to need a base and a height. So let's go and create two integers. And in fact, just for the heck of it, let's make them doubles. So we're going to do double. And we'll do base and height. Just so we use the get positive double. We will also need the area of the triangle. That takes care of that. So the first thing we need to do is the base equals get positive double. And then we want to, what is the base must be positive. And we are duplicating some code, but that's okay. We can always clean that up later. Now we want the height. equals, and I'm just going to copy this and change it to height. So now we want this to be the height. Then let's calculate the area of a triangle. Equals, now do it this way, 0.5 times, and then put in parentheses, the base times the height. That is a better way of doing things so that you do not mess up. It's much easier and clearer because basically it's 1/2 times the base times the height. So we want to calculate the base times the height. Now, because we're multiplying, it really doesn't matter whether you have the parentheses or not, but this is just good programming to do this. And so I put a little extra space in here. And then our final step is we need to return the area of the triangle. So we'll go back to our call. And we have not used the double yet, but let's see if it works. We're assuming it's going to work because we just really copied the code and changed it, the data type, to a double. So now we need a double circumference area of a circle and area of a triangle. So this will be number 4. Area of a triangle equals get area. It's actually calculate. Calc area of a triangle. Make sure that you put the parentheses there. And then we'll just copy this because I'm lazy. And the area of a triangle and of course we better do the right variable. And we have the set precision against set. I'll take care of this extra line that we have here, and let's run it and see what happens. So we want to do the area of a triangle. I see we're missing a line, so I need to fix that. So let's do 4. And you're selecting 4. What is the base? So let's do 25.5. What is the height? 35.9. And let's see what we get. So the area triangle is 457.72. So what I'm going to do now is I want to check this in Excel. So let's open up Excel, and we have a book open. So we can just use this right now. So we have the base is 25.5. And the height is 35.9. So we're going to calculate it in Excel. Equals 0.5 times So we are back. I had to put it on pause to answer a phone call. You may have heard the phone ring. So we're going to do 1/2 the base times the height. So we're going to do 25.5 times the height, which is 35.9. And notice that we should get the same thing even I didn't put the parentheses in. Let's enter and see. We get 457,727 or 725 and 457,72. So this really rounded down. It did not round up, but that's okay. So we did 25.5 in here. So we're looking good at this particular case over here. So let's go and close this. And we're doing good here. So now what we need to do is be able to create a menu system that constantly allows us to keep doing it until we get a particular answer, which in this particular case would be X, which technically you can call that a sentinel value. So we need to put this into a while loop. So here we need a Boolean, and I'm going to call it process menu. And we're going to set that to true. So we're good here. So we have process menu true. We're going to put this in a while loop. Actually, a do while. So let's go down to the end of the switch. And notice how you see putting these comments in here makes it so much easier when you have more than one of these curly braces. And we'll do while. And we'll call it process menu. It's a process menu. Yeah, yes it is. Process menu. So that's good. Now normally when you do this, it will indent everything, which it did not seem to do. But that's okay. Let me hit the enter key and see if it does, which it did not. So what you can do here, there's many different things, a way that you can do it. There's also a format source coding. I don't have that open right now. So let's just go in here and go through the entire switch and just hit the tab key. And that moves everything inside. So I will show you in a future video how to apply source formatting in here, but for right now we're just going to do it this way if it doesn't automatically do it, which it normally does. So now what we need to do here, in the case X, we need to do process menu equals false. So I'm going to do something a little differently. I'm going to put just before the do statement, process menu equals true. And yes, I know that we initialize it to true, but by doing this, if we accidentally initialize it to false without realizing it, then this is going to solve the problem. So we're good over here, process menu. I'm not sure why this is here, error type in here. So I'm going to hit an enter key and see if that disappears, which it did not. So let's see what we're missing in here. C out, C out, C out. So obviously we have something bad. Wow. Switch default. And here. So I've had this happen a couple times, and it's always something simple, something that's misplaced. So let's see. Do process menu, switch selection. So what I'm going to do here is apparently the C outs, it does not like any of the C outs. I'm going to try to run it anyway to see if I get any errors. That'll be a little bit more helpful. Okay, so it's not giving me any errors. So now let's try to run it and see what happens. Okay, so apparently it is not an issue. Those red squiggly lines, I do not understand why. So for right now, let's just choose X and see if it exits. So it did not process everything. So that is good. So let us go, and these things are still here. Error type C out. C out is ambiguous. I'm not really sure what it is. I will pause the video and I will figure it out, and then I will get back to you to see what's happening here. I have had this happen before, and what I've done is close the file and reopen it, and it seems to disappear right away. So I'm going to go and work on this to see if I can figure out exactly what the issue is, and then we'll come back. So I'm going to put this on pause right now. Okay, while I had the video on pause, I did some online searching, and it appears that there is a bug inside of Visual Studio 2019 with the IntelliSense. So what it says to do is close Visual Studio and open it up. But in this particular case, I'm going to close Menu Functions. And then I'm going to open back up and see if it still has the same issue, which it does. So let's close Visual Studio and exit Visual Studio. And we'll open it back up. So we want to open the Menu Functions project, and let's see what happens. And eventually it will show up. And it's quite frequent to get this Visual Studio not responding, and then all of a sudden it will come back online. And here we go, finally. So it must have done 18 million error checks while we're doing it, or some kind of other system checks. So let's open up Menu Functions. And we did, and it's gone. So if you have an issue with this, make sure it's saved. You know, you're going to click anywhere in here and choose Save just to be on the safe side. Exit out of Visual Studio, go back in and see what happens. So it looks pretty good like here. So let's test it by running some other functions. So we'll do the area of a rectangle. So we want to enter the length, which will be 40, and the width we'll do 25. So we should get 40 times 25, which I believe will be 1,000. So let's see what happens. And it is. Okay, please enter the length. So we are still having the same issue. We're having a little problem, does not seem to want to go back to the menu selection. So let's go and look at this and see what happened here. So we have a process menu, and here is the issue. We did not put this inside of, let's take this out and put it just before the switch. So this way we'll display the menu, get the selection. Selection is there. And we can get rid of this C out fixed and put it up top here. And I'm going to leave this process menu true in there anyway. So let's run it again. And we'll do 40 and 30, which should be 1200. Boom, enter. So now it is pressing us for something to do. Let's do the area of a circle. What is the radius? We'll do 25. And that gives us that. So now we'll do X. And we're done. So that takes care of that. So now what you could do also, and I will make a separate video on this, if you hit X by accident, then it's just going to exit, and maybe you didn't want to do that. So what you could do is create a function or call a function that says, gets a return a yes or no. And basically you'd go, if get yes, no equals yes, then menu, process menu equals false. So we're going to do that in another video. So this is everything that we need to accomplish in this one. And I will put in comments later, but for you, if you're copying this and you're doing this, following along, then you need to put in all of the comments that would go along. So starting with the purpose of positive integer in this function is to get an integer. And so there's also other things that you could do. We could write an arrow function and just display the arrow function in here. So in case you're calling get an integer and you're having a function that has a high and a low. So we're going to do that in a separate video where we're going to do get integer where you're setting a low and a high and how to do things. So that's it for this video. Hopefully it's helpful for you, and have a wonderful day.